As we know, business objectives have not changed, sales and ROI, and they will never change. That's what it always is. But the way in which we market a brand or a service is being transformed by, we say, 4 factors. One is technology, which is changing behavior and how we shop, how we get entertainment, how we communicate to each other, eventually how we drive. Every part of our lives is being disrupted by technology, which is leading to behavior changes. But there's a codependency between behavior and technology, because behavior is also influencing the type of technology that's being developed. The two together, technology and behavior, has led to an unprecedented amount of data that's in the market, one that we haven't ever seen so much of before. And every media owner is focused on data, not just their audiences, but what data they're supplementing their audiences with. That has led to an opportunity for us to further interpret, analyze all of the behavioral characteristics of different discrete audiences, and being able to then personalize our communications, our content out. So those 4 factors of technology driving behavior, which is leading to this abundance of data, which then allows us to personalize our content and our messaging. And we believe it's those 4 together that is transforming. So what do we do in that regard? We need to organize ourselves differently from the way agencies have traditionally been organized, and even the way marketers are organized. We need to get much closer to technology and to the open source marketing platforms that exist today. So we can all, what do we mean by open source marketing? We can take a lesson from the software community. The software community was all built on open source software, where developers had access to all the software code, and they built on top of that. And their creativity came from building on those software codes that were given out to everybody. So as marketers, we need to take advantage of the same factors that today that we have access to an abundance of platforms that are open, whether in the social sphere, Twitter, Facebook, or in the video sphere. In a multitude of areas, we have access to an open source platform. And we, as marketers, add our creativity on top of it. So I like to say that I coined a new word or a new definition. So instead of a brand manager or a product manager, we're talking about a marketing developer. So just as we had software developers, now we need to have marketing developers. So our marketing teams have to be much better versed in technology than they ever have before, because it relies today on how we build marketing programs on these platforms that are open and accessible to everybody. That's a very different way than in which we approach marketing and advertising in the past. Creative doesn't, in my opinion, is not held with just a few people who are assigned to a creative responsibility. But we all have opportunities to be creative today. And that goes back to the open source marketing platforms, because it's about us being creative and how we build on top of those platforms, how we become more in the moment. And really, it's about today taking advantage of things that are in the moment, that are real time happening, and to be able to scale those. So we're fortunate that we are in the age of a technology boom and of advancement, where there is more access to platforms, open source platforms, for us to build on top of and gain scale in the areas of native advertising, which is, of course, an overused term. But what it essentially means is, how do we become more in the moment, more of the moment and time that is happening? So our role is less about actually building these platforms and technology, but then we can focus on the creativity side. We can focus on how do we take and interpret events that are happening in real time, and then build on top of that messaging that actually happens on the platforms that are already built.